Hi everyone, it's Miss Jones and welcome to our art lesson. This week we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And for this holiday, I wanted to use our art project to spark a bit of Patty Day cheer. So what you're going to need today is a piece of media paper because we are going to be using some watercolor. So make sure you have a piece of media paper. You'll want to have a cup of water, as well as a paper towel just in case. You'll need a palette of watercolors. There should be one in your art kit, as well as a paintbrush that goes with it. And then you're also going to need a white crayon today. So a white crayon, we're gonna draw out with a white crayon first and then go over our picture with watercolor. Now you can also use other colors of crayons too, so if you wanna have other crayons nearby, you can always use other crayons because any kind of crayon is going to repel the water from our paints. But I like to use a white one because it's kind of like a magic, kind of invisible, and then the paint kind of brings it alive. So that's why I'm gonna use a white crayon today. But feel free to use other colors to maybe decorate your picture a little bit more before you add water. So I kind of explained a little bit about what we're doing today. We are going to be using watercolor and our crayon to draw a Patty Day symbol that you probably are very well aware of, and that is a clover. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our clover. So I would like you to draw your clover with your white crayon, and I will do that as well, but I want to first show you how to draw a clover. And it's going to be kind of hard to see the white crayon on my white paper. So I'm going to first show you with a pencil, and you can follow along using your white crayon drawing our clover. So we're going to start down at the bottom of our page with our clover stem. So our stem is kind of has a bottom part here that kind of is straight across, and then our stem kind of curves upwards, kind of like that. And a clover is essentially a flower or leaf, and it has 3 leaves on it. So there are such things as a 4-leaf clover, but we're gonna just do a 3-leaf clover today. So on one of our sides, we're gonna start with one of our leaves. So our clover is gonna kind of come around and have kind of like a big, almost like a heart. It's kind of like a heart shape. So the one leaf is gonna be kind of like a heart and then kind of come down, but it's not gonna be into a point. So there's maybe one leaf of our clover there. So it kind of comes around, it's a heart without connecting the bottom of our heart. And we're gonna do this 2 more times, once on top and then once on the other side. So we're gonna do our kind of our big heart here. That's gonna kind of come down, and we're gonna end it before we end our heart. And same thing on the last side here. We're gonna do our heart shape. And we're gonna connect it down here. And there we go. So we've got our big leaves. Now it's okay if you've made a couple different lines like I did. I kind of sketch out my clover a little bit with my pencil, but with the crayon it'll be a little bit different. So you'll want to have to try and go pretty smoothly through your drawing of your clover here. So I'm going to flip over my page. So here's what your clover looks like. If you want to maybe pause the video here and kind of follow along with that shape, you can. I'm gonna flip my picture over and I'm gonna do it with my crayon. So I'm gonna start down here with my stem. It's gonna come up. You can kind of see a little bit of your clover when you do it with the white, but it might be kind of hard to see, which is okay. Kind of can see what it looks like at the end, which is kind of fun. It'll be a surprise. All right, so I pretty much got my clover in there. And I'm gonna want to even go over my clover. I'm gonna add a little bit of white even to the inside of my clover. So I'm kind of gonna try and do a little bit of color inside my lines. And it might be a little bit hard to see your clover lines, but do your best there. And I'm just gonna color kind of like little scribbles in there. So I'm not trying to fill up my whole clover, but I'm gonna try and cover up a decent amount of it. So you can't really see my clover here, but I definitely made some marks with my crayon. So after we finish drawing our clover, we're gonna start adding our paint. So I want my clover to be green. So I'm gonna start with my green and color in my clover first. And then we'll go back and we'll add our color maybe behind our clover in our background. So let's go ahead and we'll grab some water, and I'm gonna put it in my green because I want my clover to be green. And if you wanted to add, I just added scribbles within my clover, but if you wanted to do maybe some different designs, like some swirls or something, stripes, you can do that too. But I'm gonna get some nice paint in there, and I'm gonna start to go over my clover here. And I'm gonna try and start to color in my clover. And I'm gonna go out until I reach kind of the edge and I can see my crayon edge start to appear. So I'm gonna follow that edge. Once you find your clover edge, you can kind of follow that around and use that as a guide to fill in your clover. So I found kind of my edge here, and I'm kind of following that line with my paint and kind of seeing where it goes, and that's helping me know where to color in my paint. And I did some of those, little swirls inside my clover, which is giving it a little bit more texture. But I like that I have this line to kind of follow. And it's okay if you go out of the lines on your clover. That is acceptable and totally helpful for finding where your clover drawing is, because it can kind of be like a reappear, kind of be hard like a ghost. You have to try and make it reappear. All right, so there we go. So I have my clover is all painted in. Now it's a little bit wet still, so I'm gonna want to let my clover dry for a little bit before I do maybe my background. So while your clover dries, if you wanna add something to your background, you can. I'm planning on doing a rainbow in my background, so if you wanna do some scribbles, you can, or if you wanna draw some other types of shapes with your white crayon, that might be kind of fun. So I might do some swirls and maybe some circles just kind of around. Just to kind of make my background interesting. Be careful though not to touch your paint when you're trying to draw, because we don't want to kind of push the paint around or mess it up in any way while it's drying. So I'm trying to be really careful about kind of where I put my hand. Okay, so my shamrock or clover is still a little bit wet, but I'm gonna try my best to kind of avoid the edges of my shamrock while I do my background. So I wanted to do a rainbow background. So I'm gonna start with my beginning color of my rainbow, which is red. So I'm gonna get a little bit of red in there. And I'm gonna start and do this kind of on the corner. I wanna do it diagonal. So I'm gonna do my red kind of in diagonal here on this corner. And I wanna make sure that I can go through all my colors first before I put my red down again. So we're going to have to kind of like wash our brush pretty often as we do our background if you wanna do rainbow. So since we did the red, we're gonna wash out our brush, and then we're gonna move on to the next color, which is orange. So add some water to your orange there. And then we're gonna put our orange kind of like right next to our red. Voila. And once you finish your orange stripe, we're going to wash our brush again and then go to our yellow. So we're kind of gonna go down the line, and I think I might skip green as part of my rainbow, but we're gonna kind of skip down the line and kind of add our colors one next to each other. So we're gonna do kind of like a striped pattern. So let's do a rainbow stripe pattern. It's okay if your colors kind of blend a bit, but between each color, you're gonna wanna wash your brush. So I just finished yellow, so I'm gonna wash that, and I'm gonna skip to blue. And I'm gonna do my blue next to my yellow here. When I get close to my clover, I'm gonna wanna be kind of careful because I don't wanna go over it too much, but the paint should kind of repel it. You see how the chalk or the crayon kind of repels the blue. So I'm just gonna do it kind of close to the edge, and be careful when I get close to the edge because I don't want to get it in the way there. But I did some blue. Now I'm gonna wash my brush and do a purple. Maybe I should have added green. It might look kind of weird without green in my rainbow, oh well. If you wanna add green in your rainbow, you can, that will also work. But we're gonna do kind of continue our rainbow stripe because I finished my purple, and we'll continue and do our red and then start over and do our orange, yellow, blue, purple again. Just finished my background on my picture. I love how it turns out. I like the rainbow with the clover, because with St. Patrick's Day, usually we think of pots of gold with rainbows leading to them. So I really love how this looks so far. And I'm pretty much complete with my picture. The only issue is that my paper is still very, very wet. So it's gonna be kind of hard to move, and there's lots of kind of wet paint even around it. So luckily all this wet paint will be able to come up from my table, but I wanna let it wait here a few minutes for it to dry. So if you need to move your picture away from your desk space, ask a parent or guardian to maybe help you kind of lift it up and move it gently somewhere else. If it's still really wet, you'll want to put it up somewhere where it can't get touched or nothing can get at it. And don't forget to wash your hands afterwards too. My hands definitely have a lot of paint on them. So you'll need to wash your area and your hands after you do this project. But hopefully you enjoyed this. I think it turned out wonderful. I'm really excited to see what it looks like when it's all dry. And I think next time I might add a little bit more to my clover, but I really enjoyed the painting and kind of this cheerful St. Patrick's Day look. So thank you everyone. I hope you really enjoyed our project today together, and have a happy St. Patrick's Day this week. Thanks everyone. Bye.